Sounds good.
All right, so I am back here. Sunny Speaks. We back again. We're doing this whole the Your Voice Matters is what it's called. It's in lieu of the George Floyd murder and the aftermath that ensued. Not just the protests, but the um, the looting and the vandalism, because it plays a specific part, specifically here in Chicago. I don't know if you've been watching news or if you're not in from Chicago. We got hit pretty bad. And so I got
Mm.
one of my brothers here with me. We used to work together, we think about 5 or 6 years ago, in an organization called LISC. And we connected, and I saw him on social media. He said he's not normally on there, so this must be God sent. I'm gonna let you let him introduce himself.
Thank you so much, Clarence. I'm happy to be here. First and foremost, I want to thank you for providing people with a platform to speak about issues that normally they don't get the opportunity to do so. So thank you for putting this together. Thank you for asking me to get my perspective. So thank you. My name is Luis Concepcion. As Clarence said, we used to work together with LISC. Since then, I've transitioned working in sales, but it's my passion, my heart is still with the community and doing the work of the people. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, yeah,
And hello, everybody that's tuning in.
yeah. Hey,
What's
listen,
up?
if you out there and you need somebody to work in the streets, this guy's for you. So I'm gonna make sure I put his resume in your hand if you're looking for somebody that can get down in any community, but got a heart for people,
Right.
love people. That's what's up. Um, talk to me, Louise. What's up? Tell me what your feelings, what your thoughts was, where you was at when this popped off. Was you talk to me?
Yeah. Okay. So, kind of to touch back a little bit about what we were talking about, how I normally am never on social media. Um, and being going through COVID right now and having to self isolate is a struggle in itself. It's it's taken a bit of a toll, right? On my it's stressful,
Mm,
right? You can't really go out, you can't do what you normally do, and so that alone was stressful enough. And then uh, George Floyd's murder um, started just flowing through the airwaves, you know, on my phone, all the news stations posting about it, and it was heartbreaking. Um, I didn't foresee uh, this whole protest really coming out of this.
mm,
Um, as big as it's been, and it's been sustained for over a week, so that's amazing to still
yes, it is.
see. Like in the past, in obviously this isn't anything new, black people have been disproportionately targeted by police officers. That's that we know that. And so I was like, damn, again, like there goes another black brother lost, failed by the system.
Mhm.
And so it was heartbreaking to hear that, but then it was also extremely exciting to see when all these young people started getting together, taking over the streets,
Mm,
protesting, raising their voice, standing in solidarity for this movement. And I was just like, yeah, right on. And then a part of me was also like, dang, I can't do much because I'm also still, to be honest, afraid of what could happen related to COVID.
yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie, and that's why part of me was like, man, I'm torn because I want to be out there in the streets protesting, you know, showing, being out there in solidarity with everyone, to let everyone know, yeah, that Black lives do matter.
Yeah.
And um, so I've been trying to do my little bit, my little piece here and there, and that's why I got into social media.
Okay, that's
And
fantastic.
that's why I started going on Facebook to see what people were posting, to see what people were saying. um, and the reason why was because I needed a channel. I needed some place to go to release my frustration, to put this information out there, because I believe that the best way to change people's heart is through dialogue, right?
Mm,
People are indoctrinated to believe certain things because they grew up in a household that was racist, right?
Right.
um and so for me, it's important to have these discussions. It's important to challenge other people's ideas, but still, and let them share their thoughts, because it's only through these conversations that you realize, wait a minute, I need to do some self-reflection, I need to do some soul searching, and start realizing that, what, these preconceived notions that I have of, black and brown people are flawed,
Mm,
right?
right.
um and so, yeah, that's why I started getting onto social media and do my little piece. Every time we go out for a walk, when we can, we take chalk, and we write on the sidewalk little messages to let people know that are walking behind us, past us, Black Lives Matter. And Latinos are here in support of Black lives.
Mm,
And it's simple, but I think it hits home. And the point is, we want to let our Black brothers and sisters know that we're with them.
yeah,
And this is a struggle that they shouldn't be fighting alone, and they won't fight alone, and we're here to support.
I believe that, Luis.
That's right, 100%.
Believe that.
No, and that's the truth, but yeah, it's heartbreaking. It's sad to see. I mean, I've been watching posts, I've seen videos, and pictures of like it was a white couple that said um, something along the lines, I'm 85 years old and I can't believe I'm still doing this, right? I don't know if I could swear because I don't know if you got young people who are listening,
Not
but they're
necessarily.
still 85 years old and they still have to fight for the same old damn thing. And it gets
Right.
exhausting, it's tiring, and people are at the point in their lives where they're like, we've had enough. Like, come on, like all these politicians stay trying to galvanize support, get all these votes, but then when they get elected, they don't do nothing for
Do
the
the
people,
same stuff.
you know. And a part of this that I hope, um, something that comes about from this whole protest and this movement is that people recognize that they got to vote,
They
right?
vote.
It's one simple thing that people can do that will make a big difference. And now I'm not just talking about voting for like the president. I'm talking about voting for the judges.
Yeah,
I'm talking about voting for the state's attorneys.
yeah,
I'm talking about voting for your congressmen, your aldermen, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are making these laws, that are passing the laws that are impacting our communities.
that's that.
And so that's like that's one of my hopes, one of my desires from all this. But yeah, that's
Hold on one second, Luis, because I know a lot of people deal with politics in the form of voting. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? And I know that when you start dealing with our communities, they start saying, oh, it's such a small amount of people that came out and voted. And when I talk to those people, they be like, well, it ain't gonna make no difference. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying I agree with that. I vote. I get my little sticker.
No, I got you. I get my little bracelet, my
Yeah, I
little
get my
sticker that
little
says I
bracelet.
voted.
You know, it's and one because I believe that if you put I believe in the process, even though I think the process is flawed. You know, because I
Mhm.
heard you just say you was like, dude, these politicians say they're gonna do this, then they get in office and they don't do it. But then we say tell people at the same time to vote. And so it's like, how do we reconcile that with a 25-year-old guy who like looking at an image of an 85-year-old person literally saying, I've been fighting this same thing for 85. I mean, at some
No, I
point
get what you're
we got
saying.
to realize that what we're doing, no matter how noble it is, it's something wrong with what we're doing. I don't know if it's us in the I don't know where the glitch is at, but we cannot keep telling our kids, young people, millennials, the same, oh, we'll do this and do that. These same steps we took, I didn't like that people was looting and burning down stuff, but I know some people only understand certain languages. So I
Yeah.
see you ready to get jump in there. So
So there's a lot that you just said that we need to unpack. um, but yeah, I mean, regarding the voting, I don't, and I'm trying to be careful here. I
yeah,
don't want to take anybody off or misrepresent anything, but for me, voting is essential to a democracy,
True.
right? So long as they're open and fair elections. And why voting is so important to me is because if you don't, then you can't be out there complaining about what's going on, because everything is so directly connected to that,
Hmm.
right? We're a country of laws, you know, and who make those laws? The people that get elected. So
Right.
if you're trying to make a real change, you have to either be you have the platform to push these elected officials to pass laws or legislation, or elect people that see you, um, and see your platform and agree with you and want to push those legislations to make the change that you want to see. um, and I'll take for example, like, I'm a big Bernie Sanders supporter,
Right.
right? And we talking about, yeah, you mentioned like the 25-year-old who's looking at the 85-year-old men and women
Yeah.
in the picture, and they're like, well, man, it's, they're 85, they're probably voting or voted, and they still seeing the same thing.
Right.
And the problem is because a lot of young people don't vote,
Oh.
right?
Okay.
And so I think that's a big problem too.
Yeah.
If you look, if and I don't have any of the statistics or the polling rate or data, but
You cool.
most young millennials are liberal, um, left leaning, progressive, um, who would push for like police reform, um, who would probably transform the electoral process, do away with a two-party system. Um, and so, like, sorry, my fiance, she just walked past and
You know,
she
that's
gave me a little thumbs up.
cool.
um, and so even like doing things like eh, like turning election day into a holiday, where you give people the day off to vote. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes people can't vote because they're working two jobs, or they have too many responsibilities and voting is not really a priority. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, I think we need to like tell people and let them see the importance of it, the real life consequences of not voting.
Yeah. I think that.
And they're real. you
Yeah,
know
and I think we
we
tell
see
them.
them.
Yeah, we see them. One of the things
And
that
like,
go on.
no, go ahead.
I didn't know if you was gonna stay on that vein, so that's why I wanted to let you finish.
No, I mean, yeah, and in talking about, I wanted to bring in Bernie Sanders.
Mhm.
This is a gentleman who, I strongly believe in because of his platform,
Mhm.
speaks and touches all people. And
Mhm.
he is all about the working people, the poor folk. And he's about making the playing field level, so that no matter what your zip code is, you can have access to a good education.
Right. I like Bernie too.
Man, you can, no matter what your income is or what your job is, you can have healthcare. Most people have decent healthcare because of their jobs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that sometimes the jobs have to be like, I don't know, working at a really great nonprofit, or working, in a corporation that
Mhm.
is going to offer you these silver platinum plans that somebody in one of our communities can't afford. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I do.
Um,
Exactly.
and so like his platform resonated with me. It resonated with a lot of young people, but sadly, the young people didn't turn out to vote.
Right.
And what happens is most individuals that do vote are they tend to be older individuals.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if it's because they understand, like, the implications, or they take a lot of pride in it. I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, this mindset that also, oh, one vote is not gonna make the difference, or just a couple of votes ain't gonna make the difference. And sadly, it does make the difference.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
there's been cases even in Chicago where an alderman got elected by a couple dozen votes. So it happens. It It happened to Bernie Sanders when he became the mayor of Burlington. He won by, I think it was like, I don't know, like 10 votes. So like it happens, and your vote is real currency. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you have the power with just voting to
Yeah.
make a difference. And yeah, I mean, like people sometimes are maybe turned off by the election or the process because it can be so overwhelming.
Right.
But there are resources out there where you could learn about, the candidates, their history,
Yeah.
what their platform is, and a lot of organizations in Chicago also, like the People's Lobby, when there are elected officials who or individuals who are running for office, they'll put out their slate and they'll say, we endorse these folks because they align with our mission and our statement of putting people first before profits,
Yeah.
or ensuring that um, everyone has access to a good education, healthcare. Um, decriminalizing marijuana, which has often led to the mass incarceration of Black and Brown people,
Mm-hmm.
to ending private prisons, uh, to defunding or limiting how much funds can go into a political campaign,
Mm-hmm.
um, and things like that. And so, like, yeah, voting is extremely important, and it's so interweaved with our society and everything that we do. So, like, I stress the importance of that. And yeah, sometimes we are stuck with two candidates that
Yeah.
suck. I mean, like Joe Biden, let's be real, he's not the best candidate to represent the Democratic Party. No, and Trump obviously not. But that's unfortunately what our system produced,
That's right.
and we are set. We have to vote for the lesser of two evils, as you often hear, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it doesn't always have to be that way, you
Yeah.
know.
That's
And the
true.
more the people recognize the power they have with their vote, the more people will vote, and the system will change. We also need young people to well, we need older people to pass the torch already, or the baton, or whatever
Yeah.
analogy you want to use. And
You've been an alderman for 62 years. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
right, like, come on, Ed Burke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, like, stop playing.
Yeah.
He's a part of the old political machine who was against Harold Washington's progressive agenda, and he's still in office.
Yeah.
Like, dude, come on, we need young people, fresh ideas. Um and and yeah, I mean, like, I could see why people are kind of turned off by it and might not want to entertain that, but it's also important for them to recognize how much of an impact their vote really has.
Okay. Let me ask you this, because one of the things I notice, whenever these type of things happen, this protest, and then this, I'm like you, I didn't foresee a protest this strong, and I'm proud that it came that way. But I definitely didn't foresee the vandalism and the looting that went along with it, and I definitely didn't foresee it coming to the south and west side of Chicago. That threw me off. When they was doing it downtown, I was like, oh, that's messed up. You know, the mayor got wise on to that. She was like, okay, let's trap these jokers out. Let's put these bridges up. Let's protect white people's space in their area. And boom, where else was looters and people that was coming to make, and I want to make a clear distinction between looters and vandalizers and protesters, right? Where else were they going to go? Of course, to the
Hmm.
southwest side of Chicago. I don't think that that's too difficult to foresee. That's what was going to happen. And
Hmm.
one of the things that I noticed is that by, I think it was Sunday night, all this rhetoric was going around about, we can't. Some of my kids even told me on the shout out we had, we can't go into Latino communities. They talking about shooting black people, and I'm like, I haven't seen this. So of course, I'm on social media. I think that's when I saw you, and I'm like, what I'm seeing on social media actually says the exact opposite. I'm seeing brown people love Black Lives Matter. So I'm like, where's and but the whenever you start something like this, there's always it's these little rules, these little games, and the playbook.
Mm.
Same thing they did with George Floyd. Oh, well, he beat up a woman, and then he didn't pay child. All of these things about him that don't have nothing to do, and it'll get just people get distracted. That's hustle 101. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I know that. Well, let me hear you talk to that. This whole pitting minorities against each other, not just for money, but that as well, but they do that a lot as well. But just this, oh, you better not come in this community because
Hmm.
we shooting black people.
Well, yeah, I mean, so it was crazy to learn that all the police were basically taken from those communities to begin with to address what was happening downtown. That was crazy.
Mhm.
So they left those communities unprotected, right? And it gave rise to an opportunity for opportunists to go out and start looting.
Yeah,
I, from for one, am not for that. The reason being is because it leaves individuals who rely on those stores for medicine, for food, without any other place to go. And especially when in the black community, there's a lot of food deserts,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so when you have that one food store that services a 2, 3 mile radius and it gets looted,
yeah,
like where is the grandma gonna go in that community to buy her groceries that she's relied on? And not only that, but then it takes years to rebuild,
yeah,
that community store, and it might not even come back,
yeah,
to be real. And so that was heartbreaking to see. And then to then read that because the police were taken away, to fill that void, gang members decided to say, you know what, we're going to step up and we're going to protect the storefronts from looters. And to be honest, at first I was like, okay, I don't know how I feel. Part of me was like, all right, they're stepping up to protect the community. If we learn about the history of gangs, that's what they
yeah,
started off as. They
yeah,
were basically cliques in the community that were basically protecting their community from uh, racist thugs,
yeah. No doubt.
right?
I know that's how black gangs started. You're right.
Yeah, definitely how Puerto Rican gangs started too,
Yeah,
and Latino gangs. And even like Black Panther
yeah,
Party, you talk about the Young Lords, like they all started as community-based organizations that were basically filling a void that the government failed to address.
yeah,
Whether it was a free lunch program, whether it was housing, whether it was healthcare, like clinics, like they were on it. And then they stemmed into a different kind of, you know, world. And but part of me was like, that's cool. The police kind of got taken away. They're left to their own devices. They want to protect their mom's shops. Okay, cool. But then when I started learning that people were out there throwing, just recklessly targeting black people, that's when I was like, really? Like people are just trying to drive through the community and you're going to just assume because they're black that they're out there to loot.
hmm,
When and that's was also irritating because social media, for one, has this algorithm in the back that will feed you information you are posting or you're looking at. So
exactly.
you didn't see any of that stuff because you might not have been posting that or looking into posts like that, and so
Yeah,
they were just feeding you information that you were kind of previously looking at and
exactly.
searching for. And so for me, I started looking for that. And so then I started finding a lot of that stuff.
Okay, okay.
And so that for me, I was like, that's sad. Like this is a time where we should be in solidarity with each other. This is an opportunity for us to make real change. And yeah, it was definitely heartbreaking, sad to see that my Latino brothers and sisters were targeting black people who were just trying
Hmm.
to drive through the community to go home. And a part of that is also the way media is depicting these protesters. You know what I'm saying?
You
They're
know,
making it seem like it's just black people out there looting
yeah,
when there's white people looting, there's Latinos looting.
yeah. The
And so
old
like
people looting.
right. And so like that's frustrating too because and that's why really I was relying on social media for the news because mainstream news outlets, national mainstream news outlets were pushing a narrative um, that was depicting the protests as violent. And that's all they were showing was the riots, this, when that was a small group of people who were out there to cause havoc. And you will see that in any protest.
Yeah.
When Donald Trump was running, we were out in UIC. He was gonna have his speech.
Yeah. I
Yeah, my
remember.
fiance were out there protesting. We're like, no, we don't want you to be here. We
No,
don't want you to
indeed.
spit that hate. You're a bigot, misogynist, you're racist. We don't want to hear that, because it's gonna cause violence. It's gonna, stoke the flames of hatred and racism. And so we're like, we don't want to hear that. Um, and so then there was a group of young kids who were out there antagonizing the police. Now, if I and I like to see things from different perspectives. As a police officer, it's my job, it's my duty to be out there, to make sure maintain order. And
Mm.
so like there's people who are throwing water at you, maybe urine, frozen bottles, glass, and like tensions are high.
Yeah.
Somebody's coming at you, you're human too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to excuse it, not to excuse the aggressive behavior by no means, but at some point, when you get, push comes to shove, you got to defend yourself too. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? If everything remains peaceful and calm, no one's antagonizing the police, I honestly think that, as we seen like in Flint, the police, the
Yeah.
sheriff was like, you know what? I love
Tell me
you.
that's
I'm here because I want to make sure that we turn this into a parade. You know what I mean? He took off his hard hat, his baton. He's like, look, I'm here because I just want to maintain the peace. That's all. I'm not trying to like fight anybody. I'm not trying to abuse anybody. And that's not us. That's not how we've been, and that's not what we're about. And like, yeah, and that's that's what it is.
yeah, yeah,
um yeah, but to go back to what, my initial thoughts, it was, yeah, of course, heartbreaking. It was difficult to watch, difficult to read how people were being targeted,
mhm,
um, especially because, I feel like there's like a culture of retaliation,
right, right,
um, with especially with street gangs, that I was worrying about, senseless violence,
yeah,
um, being perpetuated just at random, just because of the way you look. So
okay,
that was extremely alarming.
okay,
But I also appreciate the fact that there were elected officials who were calling that out, and they're like, "Nah, we're not standing for that. We're not gonna do that." Like Alderman Byro Lopez,
yeah,
Cincho Lopez from Pilsen, he was like, "Look, that's not what we're about. Please don't do that." Um, and then Chuy, um,
yeah,
Jesus Chuy Garcia, the congressman of the 4th District, he was like, nah, we're not about that. We're here we stand with our black brothers and sisters.
yeah.
And then the dreadhead cowboy, I don't know if you've seen him on his
One on the
horse.
horse, yeah,
Yeah, he came through a little village and he was meeting some of the community, residents, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not about that. We're here about it's all about love, and we're here in solidarity. And your struggle is my struggle, and like that's the real message.
that's what's up. Okay,
Ubuntu."
Ubuntu. I know that's right. Ubuntu.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
am
I'm
because
glad to
you
know
are.
that I got my story straight. So it was going on. It wasn't just a made up lie, but it was a just like everything.
No, yeah, no, no, no. It was happening in Humboldt Park. Yeah, there's videos reporting of people being shot. I think in Little Village as well.
Mm,
In Cicero, they were throwing rocks at people, but I think they shut that down.
yeah, yeah,
That was short lived. That was,
yeah.
I think, like a day or two, but a day or two too many. It should have never happened.
One of my students
And
brought it up, so I'm glad I didn't shut her down. This I was like, "What?" Just I asked her a couple questions, and she was like, "Yeah, we couldn't go to. They was blocking off a street, and we was like, they
oh yeah,
are not coming into Cicero." And she was
yeah.
like,
And
"We
what's
couldn't go to the
crazy?
grocery store." So
No, yeah, and that's what's crazy is, even the police you see in the video, some police just driving past, and
yeah,
I'm just like, I
yeah,
I don't even know what to make of this. It's
yeah.
like, yeah, that was confusing. I've been like, y'all need to go home. There's a curfew. What y'all doing out here? Go.
It was
Like,
not
and
only
they're
was
out there with bats.
okay, well,
I'm
it was a
like,
curfew. Then on top of that, like you say, COVID ain't went nowhere, right? It's a
Right.
stay-at-home order, and y'all, it was a lot of stuff going on. So it's like one of my friends, he rolled up. He said, I went to the ATM machine, and he literally saw people just breaking in the store, and they was just looting. He said he called the police. Police told him that's what we could do. He was like, I could. He said, man, I could. He got it on Facebook. He said, I couldn't believe it. It was crazy. He like, what are y'all doing? So it was bananas.
Yeah. And
Lawlessness.
yet, and I feel bad for the small business owners too. Some of
Yeah.
them might not have real like insurance. They're struggling because nobody's visiting their stores because of COVID, and like now they got to worry about looters. And I was just like, man, it's just like it sucks. It sucks. But I'm glad to see the movement being sustained.
Next
Um,
day, I saw people out helping people clean up. You know what I'm saying? One of the things
hmm
I love Fred Rogers from Mr. Rogers. He did his documentary. He was his mother told him whenever there's crisis or trauma or turmoil, look for the helpers. That'll keep you, keep you focused. So the next day, I know many of my friends went out and just grabbed brooms, bats, whatever. I mean, grabbed brooms and stuff, and just went and drove
yeah,
the first place they could see they needed help. They stopped and helped them. So
yeah, yeah, for sure. That's beautiful. It's a good way to give back to the community, to also show your support for the businesses.
yeah,
And I also want to say, although I understand, I don't,
yeah.
I don't know how I would react either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When,
That's, I think that's a very good way to put it because had that been like my brother or my nephew,
right,
and on
right,
top of that, that I have had many dealing. I know, I work with kids. You know that some of them have been dealing with the police in corrupt ways for. I'm not saying they're innocent. I'm not saying the kids have never done anything wrong, but the way that the police deal with them creates this tension between the two. So you add that on top of then something like this happens, and even if it's not nobody you connected to, it could trigger some trauma in you. And so boom, you could snap, and
right.
I do believe there were just people that are just criminals. They saw an opportunity to steal and rob and they took it. They was at home watching TV and saw that like boom. But I do believe there are mental health issues that plague our community.
Oh, for sure.
It's just like, why not? You know what I'm saying? You're not thinking in your right mind because you looting and tearing up stuff. You grabbing stuff that may not even fit you. You know what I'm saying? You just grabbing stuff. Where you gonna
Right,
put all the hamburger meat when you get home? Y'all
right.
can't make that much chicken, man. What you gonna do with all that food? You just stealing stuff. So
Yeah.
who likely to buy from you? They out there looting too. So what's going on?
hmm
So the next question
No.
before we get out of here is you kind of touched on it was police reform.
Mm,
Minnesota is working on police reform. Actually, they was like we defunding um, the police,
yeah.
and people are having a lot of conversation around that, not necessarily sure what that means. They're not necessarily sure what it means, but I think it's kind of like a rally cry, a tagline, if you will, as opposed to a comprehensive statement. Say no to drugs didn't mean look at drugs and say no. It meant that I have with programs and abilities so that I can resist the lure that is invited by drugs. So
Yeah.
police reform.
So, yeah, police reform. What is that? Nah.
I know that.
um, no, I mean like what's happening in Minnesota, the whole defund movement. I think when I first heard that, I was like, well, where's the police gonna go?
Yeah.
But I think I missed the point. It's a disinvestment.
Yeah.
It's about reallocating resources away from policing, to a more um, they're taking an approach where you're going to invest in those communities instead of policing the community. You're going to
Exactly.
try to invest in education programs.
Mhm.
You're going to invest in more employment training, so that people have the opportunity to get better paying jobs, to get access, which is sad because these are things that are human rights, like healthcare, like an education. Like,
Mm.
why do we have to disinvest from the police force to get this? This should already be there.
Yeah.
Um, but it also, I think, entails providing them with proper training, perhaps looking at the way they handle protests, um, like stop shooting rubber bullets at people. Stop shooting tear
Yeah.
gas. That is a war crime when you're doing that overseas or in a war, or when you're shooting medics who are attending people who've been shot by rubber bullets,
Yeah.
or tear
Non-citizens.
gas or
Yeah.
pepper spray. Like
Journalists. Yeah.
it's crazy. And yeah, I mean, I definitely hope that there is reform. It needs to be reformed. People need to the trust in the police needs to be restored. I think there's a huge distrust in police officers, and the sad thing is that not all cops obviously are bad, and we know that.
Yeah.
But the sad reality is that we don't know who the good cop is or the bad cop is,
The good cops don't wear
and
red uniforms, and the bad cops wear blue ones, right? So
right, exactly. And so like even me, like when I see a cop driving behind me, I tense up, I get nervous, like my hands get sweaty because I just don't know, like what's gonna happen, especially when they ask me to get like my registration and they think I move too quick and they like end up shooting me, and that's a trauma
yeah.
um, that I'm experiencing. I can't imagine what it is like to be a black man or black woman,
Right. Right.
who is being constantly targeted
Yeah.
and
Or if that's
has
happened to
had
you before. Yeah.
like deadly consequences, like Sandra Bland. What, her tail light was off. Like it was like what, not working,
Yeah.
and she ended up dead 3 days later or something like that. I'm like, how? Like there's a
Overstepping.
huge injustice, and yeah, we need to completely reform the way we police in the United States. It's a very militant. Yeah. Um, I in Chicago, I hope that they approve the Citizen Oversight Committee,
Yeah.
um, where it's going to be like I think citizen driven, where they oversee the police activities reports. Like that dude who I don't even know what the cop's name is that was kneeling on George Floyd's
Yeah.
neck for 9 minutes, who had 18 incidents. Or 18 priors, had been suspended for over 100 days. Like at some point, you have to really like it's common sense. Like if
Yeah.
I did that, if you did something like that in your job
Yeah. I'm
as a
smacking kids
civilian,
around and I get hired back. I push a kid down the stairs, I get hired back. Like, wait a minute, what's going on?
right, you have a history already of violence.
Yeah.
And so like no, like there's a huge disconnect on this whole like what is it, like a police code where they don't snitch on each other, where they don't call each other out. Like
Yeah.
that needs to go.
That's
um
inhumane, man. Come on. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that needs to go. No, yeah, I hope, I really do. I hope that something really does come about this. Um, like it's funny, like and not necessarily funny, but it was funny to see it written now. Like they're like, oh yeah, um, Minneapolis is ending the curfew, and they're planning on defunding the police. New York ends the curfew and they're looking at reforming the police. And then for Chicago, it was like, uh, yeah, curfew was lifted, but no real action came
Right.
about that. And so, like right now, a couple aldermen are pushing for this citizen. I don't know the official name. I think it's like CPAC or something like that. It's like a citizen police accountability
I thought they already
board.
had one in the just in the actions. It came kind of after the Laquan McDonald thing. They sat down with community leaders and organizations to create a group of civilians that kind of oversee police officers because some of them got in contact with me when something happened in my community, and they was there to investigate. So
Yeah, I think that was what Lori was overseeing, right?
I don't know.
Lori Lightfoot.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that might have been what she was overseeing before she became the mayor. But yeah, no, we need to give uh, power back to the people, and we need to make people feel safe, and they need to restore trust in the police, and they need to do that by really investing in the communities.
yeah,
And it always comes down to investing in the communities.
it's it.
We need to invest in after school programs. We need to invest in healthcare, in education, um, arts programs, even like special uh, I don't know the technical term, um, like kids who have IDPs,
Yeah.
um, who need the extra special treatment,
Mm,
who might need counseling. We need to provide services for our youth. We need to fund mental health clinics because, like you said, yeah, there are people who have real mental health issues, who are roaming the city of Chicago. Like, and sadly, like Mayor Rami Emanuel before closed a ton of them.
yeah.
Um, Try to cut funding, or to uh, cut the budget. They decided to cut funding for
Yeah.
mental health facilities and clinics, and it's a big problem. We need to make sure corporations are paying their fair share in taxes. We can't be letting Amazon roll up in Chicago with a nice little pretty golden package of no taxes
Yeah.
because they're gonna bring jobs supposedly, right? And so, like, I mean, yeah, they're gonna bring jobs, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
jobs is one part, but they still need to pay their fair share. They're
Exactly.
taking advantage of our roads. They're taking advantage of our
Water, the whole.
universities,
Yeah. Yeah.
of our airports. Like, nah, you still need to invest in the infrastructure that's
Yeah.
gonna help maintain your business,
Yeah.
and give back to the Black and Brown communities.
That's
Like,
right.
they're like when we look at the TIF districts,
Yeah.
a lot of that money goes back to communities that don't need it.
Yeah.
Like, you drive down in the west and south side, you trying to, you're swerving because you're trying to miss potholes.
Yeah. I know. I
Like,
got.
how? What? Like, that's not cool. That's not right. And yeah, and it goes back to voting. We need to get these people who are entrenched in the system out of office. We need to get people that really care about the people in those communities to run for office, and we need to hold them accountable. And we do that with our votes. Like, you said you were gonna do this, you ain't doing this. All right, you gotta go.
Gotta go. Gotta go.
You gotta go.
Speaking of gotta go, we gotta go right here, man. We're gonna end it on this note. I need to holler at you on the other side of this too, man, because it looked like you might have a career in politics yourself, and I want to support you any way that I can. If that's what you're planning to do. Thanks, Louise. We want to just say thanks to him. I'm gonna stop this recording now. Much love.